Utashi Dalek and welcome all to another lesson video. Today we are going to read about a future school, and the title of the lesson is The Fun They Had. So it's kind of a story that took place in the future. Now there are some key words which you have to understood before reading this. So the words are like virtual reality, which means an environment is created with the help of a computer software, and you feel as if you are physically involved in that reality, although it's not real. Then the word virtual classroom. Here, the classroom is not real. There is no human teacher, and learning is taking place through computer software or the internet. Mechanical teacher here refers to robotic teachers. As I've said, that in virtual classroom they don't have teachers, so their teachers are computers or robotic teachers who teaches them. Then the last word is telebook. As the word suggests, it is not a real book. This is kind of book or a screen on which words move. Okay. All right. So in this picture, you see that in future the schools look like this, where learning take place through computers, and this is how virtual classroom look like. You don't see any classmates and any teacher, all a computer screen and gadgets and technology. And then we have a robotic teacher here, and this is what I said about telebook. The words are moving on the screen. Now let us read the story. Margie even wrote about it that night in her diary. On page headed 17 May 2157, she wrote, "Today Tommy found a real book." So the first character is Margie, who used to keep a diary, right? And then she wrote that night when Tommy found a real book. So Tommy is the other character. It was a very old book. Margie's grandfather once said that when he was a little boy, his grandfather told him that there was a time when all stories were printed on paper. Now, because they used to live in the year 2157, they have never seen what's a real book before. So they have only heard, especially Margie's grandfather used to tell her that back then his grandfather used to have real books where all the stories were printed on the paper. There are two questions. You can pause video and think of the answers there. They turned the pages, which were yellow and crinkly, and it was awfully funny to read words that stood still instead of moving the way they were supposed to on a screen, Now you can see that all the words are still here on the screen. So they found it quite funny, right? They found it awfully means very funny, because they are used to seeing words moving on the screen, but then in the real book words do not move. And when they turn pages, the book was old, so it looked yellow and has many folds and lines there. And then when they turned back to the page before, it had the same words on it had when they read it for the first time. So it doesn't matter whether you move it this way or turn it that way, the words will remain same even when you have read the whole book. "Gee," said Tommy, "what a waste. When you are through..." Okay, than human teachers. The inspector had smiled after he was finished and patted. Patted means he slowly, encouragingly touched Margie's head. He said to Margie's mother, "It is not the little girl's fault. It is not the little girl's mistake, okay, fault. Mrs. Jones." So Mrs. Jones is Margie's mother's name. "I think the geography sector was geared a little too quick." So it was set a little too quick. Those things happen sometimes. I have slowed it to up to an average 10-year-old level. Actually, the overall pattern of our progress is quite satisfactory. And he patted Margie's head again. So was it Margie's fault that she's performing worse in geography lesson? No, it was the mechanical teacher, right? And the county inspector said that her progress, the way she's improving, is quite satisfactory. It's not that bad. Margie was disappointed, but why? She had been hoping that they would take the teacher away altogether. So she thought that they will take the teacher away altogether means all at once, just in one time. They had once taken, why? Because they had once taken Tommy's teacher away for nearly a month. because the history sector had blanked out completely. Now, because the history sector was erased and it has become blank, and his teacher was taken away for like a month. So therefore, Margie was hoping that her teacher is also taken away by the county inspector, just like Tommy's. So she said to Tommy, "Why would anyone write about school?" Tommy looked at her with superior eyes. Superior mean as if he's better. "Because it is not our kind of school, stupid. This is the old kind of school that they had hundreds and hundreds of years ago," he added loftily. Loftily means proudly, he said, pronouncing the word carefully. "Centuries ago." So century means hundreds, right? 100 year is known as century. Margie was hurt. "Well, I don't know what kind of school they had all that time ago." She read the book over his shoulder for a while, then said, "Anyway, they had a teacher." So Margie was a little more innocent because she was younger and she hasn't read many books, and she doesn't know much about the schools that what's it people used to have during early 21st century. "Sure, they had a teacher," said Tommy, "but it wasn't a regular teacher, it was a man." "A man? How could a man be teacher?" "Well, he just told boys and girls things and gave them homework and asked them questions." So for Margie, this was very new. She has never seen a man teaching anyone. So she thought that how can a man be teacher? A man isn't smart enough. "Sure, he is. My father knows as much as my teacher. He knows almost as much, I betcha. I'm sure that my father knows as much as the teacher there." Margie wasn't prepared to dispute that. Margie wasn't prepared to disagree, right? Dispute here means disagree to this point. She said, "I wouldn't let a strange man in my house to teach me." Tommy screamed with laughter. Tommy started laughing. "You don't know much, Margie. The teachers didn't live in the house. They had a special building and all the kids went there. So the special building is known as school. And all the kids learned the same thing." So she's asking questions after question. "Sure, if they were the same age. But my mother says a teacher has to be adjusted to fit the mind of each boy and girl it teaches, and that each kid has to be taught differently. Just the same, they didn't do it that way then. If you don't like it, you don't have to read the book." "I didn't say I didn't say I didn't like it," Margie said quickly. She wanted to read about those funny schools. They weren't even half finished when Margie's mother called, "Margie, school!" So we see things here, right? Okay, I hope these are all understood because it's written in simple words. Margie looked up. "Not yet, Mama." "Now," said Mrs. Jones, "and it is probably time for Tommy too. Now it is their class time, so they have to move on." Margie said to Tommy, "Can I read the book some more with you after school?" "Maybe," he said nonchalantly. Nonchalantly means carelessly. He didn't give her his full attention. He walked away whistling with the dusty old book tucked beneath his arm. So he kept the book in between his arms, and then he walked away whistling. Margie went into the schoolroom. So, what kind of schoolroom was it? It was right next to her bedroom, and a mechanical teacher was on and waiting for her. So, the mechanical teacher was the computer, it was on and it was waiting for its student. It was always on at the same time every day except Saturday and Sunday. Only for on Sunday and Saturday it is not on at the same time. Other than that, on weekdays it is always on at the same time, because her mother said little girls learn better if they learn at regular hours, because mother believes that if you learn at a particular period of time you will learn better. The screen was lit up. It was on. It said, "Today's arithmetic lesson is on the addition of proper fractions. Please insert your yesterday's homework in the proper slot." Margie did it with a sigh. So Margie had to put inside her homework in the proper slot, and she was not very happy. Now you see, this is her classroom, and the mechanical teacher is here. It's flashing on the screen. You see there are no other children, and there is no real human teacher. Now when she was in the class, she was thinking about the old school they had when her grandfathers was a little boy. All the kids from the whole neighborhood came, laughing and shouting in the schoolyard. schoolyard means kind of school ground, sitting together in the school room, going home together at the end of the day. They learned the same things so they could help one another with the homework and talk about it. So these are all the thoughts of Margie when she was having that arithmetic lesson. And the teachers were people. The mechanical teacher was flashing on the screen when we add fraction, half, and what's it? This. Margie was thinking about how the kids must have loved it in the old days. She was thinking about the fun they had. So now you might have understood the title. The title is all about the fun that children used to have when they were what's this allowed and capable to move and go into regular real school. Okay, so this lesson is actually all about how students and children are not seeing the worth of regular school and regular teachers and real books, because one day all of these will be gone and then you'll be stuck with mechanical teacher and virtual classroom. There are some questions, you can answer them by yourself. These questions are also available on in the textbook called Beehive, page number 10. I hope everybody has learned something new and understood the lesson. In case there are questions, feel free to leave your questions and your opinions in the comment box below. Thank you all.